Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. I had to adjust the mics because we were doing things on Friday.
You know what it was?
What?
All this blow up her spot. Dr. Elsa. Dr. Elsa was in here. Dr. Elsa.
Oh, no, it's because I took the soundboard to the coaching clinic.
Oh.
And the handheld microphones are different. Like, they need more boost than
that's
here.
True. But Dr. Elsa also, she's talking back here.
Yeah.
What am I
oh,
gonna
yeah,
do?
yeah.
Tell her, like, scoot up to the mic?
Yeah.
Anyway, yes.
Well, she's not like a bullhorn like we are.
Yeah, it's true. We could sit back here and we'd be totally fine.
Yeah.
You would never know. In fact, this microphone is at its lowest possible setting, just to keep you from blowing your eardrums out. Okay, so a couple things. One, let's talk about your weekend.
Yes.
Because you had an adventure this weekend.
I did. I had told you this 2 weeks ago. This has been in the plans. I had designated this Saturday as the day that I finally attempted to make my mom's chicken and dumplings.
Mm-hmm.
Trish always did it completely by hand.
And completely from scratch. I mean,
yes.
Everything, like, to the point that, like, you basically, like, did you kill the chicken?
Yeah. Yeah, I chased it
and
and defeathered it. No, that's the only thing I didn't do, literally. But I did have a whole chicken, boiled it, deboned it, made the dumplings completely by hand, rolled it all out and everything, and it turned out just like hers.
Okay.
And it's cool because I think most of you know this, but my brother goes to UNT, and he's a freshman, and so he was able to come over on Saturday night after I had made it and kind of do the taste test with me and everything, and so that was cool.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, it was a lot of work. I mean, collectively, I probably, like, between everything and letting it cook for about 3 hours after the whole making it process, I probably spent about 8 hours making that chicken and dumplings.
That's a commitment.
Yeah, and it turned out really well. And it's cool because that was it's one of those, like, I did this. Like, I'm proud of this. So, like, whether it turned out bad or good, it was like, I put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I had a similar project this weekend.
Okay.
I cooked Hank some chicken nuggets in the oven for 11 minutes.
Wow.
So
don't you feel so accomplished after you put, like, you make something and put that much love into it?
I got the ABC chicken nuggets out of the freezer.
Look at that.
Put them onto a baking pan.
Okay, so he's a nerd because instead of Dino Nuggets, he likes ABC Nuggets.
Yeah, he likes the ABC. No, this was a big doing because he got an H1, and so he was like
Oh.
fired. I was like, guys, you seen this? You guys seen this?
He got an H nugget.
The other headline we should probably talk about before we get into the real show is, did you watch the football this weekend?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow. We are repping the orange and black in this office for the next 2 weeks.
So I want to make sure I understand this.
Mm-hmm.
You're openly rooting against the Texas high school football product.
I knew you were going to bring that up. Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm a fan of Joe Burrow.
Go on.
I have adopted the Bengals as my second team. That was before the playoff run started.
Boy, that
I will have you know. I mean, I'm definitely a bandwagon fan, yes, after they started having success this year. But it didn't just start last night. We were all rooting for it. Malpal, big Bengals girl right now. We ordered shirts. They'll be here soon. Can I help you?
I don't know. I'm just wondering why you would root for a guy from Ohio. I think he's from Ohio, right?
Yeah, he's from Ohio.
Over a guy from Texas. I'm just like, that's just, I don't know if you can shed some light on that.
No. I just, you gotta stay loyal. Who day?
Stay loyal to a team that you picked up a week ago?
I didn't pick them up a week ago, but yeah.
I watched the football.
It was fun.
It was good football. I thought the football was good. And I brought this up on Twitter. So you saw the end of the Rams 49ers game. And it functionally ended on, there were a couple kneel downs, but it functionally ended on
the
Jimmy Garoppolo interception.
Yeah.
You may have seen it that he was being sacked. He decides to try to flip it and to his receiver, or to his running back out in the flat. It sails over the running back's head, and it gets intercepted, and the game's over. He was getting roasted for it. I don't actually hate that play. It didn't work out. It didn't work out. But to me, the way that I've thought about it is if you take a sack there it's going to be about 4th and 27.
Yep.
Okay? It's going to be about 4th and 27. You're going to use your last time out, and, like, you're in deep, deep doo-doo, okay?
Yeah.
To me, now, again, like, you got to make a play. To me, you're out of good options.
Yeah.
All the good options have been expended.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 bad options, and I think that we can certainly argue as to what the difference is, but I think that the difference is small enough that I don't hate being aggressive in that situation.
No, because you've got, I mean, they were literally on borrowed time right then. You had to make a move, and there's no point in trying to draw that out another time. Go try to make the move, and they tried, and it didn't work.
He tried, I don't know. He's getting roasted today. I just don't necessarily, I don't think it was that bad of a play. Obviously the execution didn't go well, but, you got to judge it on the process, not the result, and I just thought that.
Especially with the 1 timeout left. If they have 2 timeouts, that's a little bit different.
Maybe a little bit different.
Because then you can try one more time and then quickly call a timeout and maybe get 2 more tries out of it. Yeah. But it's they had 1 timeout. They were going to have to use it. It was going to be another scramble like that.
It's going to be 4th and 27.
And they weren't going to let them have a second shot at that.
So anyway, go Rams, but not Stan Kroenke. He's a bad person.
Just another reason to root for the Bengals.
I'm rooting for the Rams. And I hope that Matthew Stafford gets that well-deserved Super Bowl. I also think they're going to win. I think that, right now, if you're asking me my prediction on January 31st, I think the Rams will win. All right.
Team of Destiny.
Pickle! Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a program online. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live on texasfootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, team. How are you?
If it had been Jimmy Garoppolo against Joe Burrow.
That's hard. That's what we were hoping for, just because it would be incredibly difficult. I would go with Joey B, but that would have been a lot more difficult to choose between.
Because of their on-field play.
Yes, they're phenomenal quarterbacks.
Today is Monday, January 31st, 2022, 297 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Jonathan the Tortoise.
Jonathan the Tortoise.
What'd you tell me about this?
Today is his birthday, and he is the longest living animal on the planet right now. He turned 109, or is turning, I should say, presently turning 190 today.
Okay. All right. 2 thoughts. 1.
Shout out Goof for the fun fact, by the way.
1. Happy birthday, Jonathan. I do not mean to besmirch you. Big doings. Hope you have a great day, buddy. 2. How in the world do we know that he was born on January 31st? We don't. We're guessing. I buy that we have forensics and things that we can do to figure out that
his
he's
age.
Around between 189 and 191 years old, right? I buy that. I do not buy that we have the forensics to be like, oh, he was born on January 31st, 190 years ago. Yeah. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. That is marketing at its best. I am being marketed to, and I know it.
Happy birthday, Jonathan.
Happy birthday, Jonathan. Episode 1323. On today's show, folks, we're going to talk a little bit about realignment, show you how it works. And then back half the show,
Yup.
We caught up with the head coach of the Lubbock Coronado Mustangs, Coach DJ Mann. After his first year at the helm, we were over at the DFW clinic in Grapevine, caught up with that mad lad. I tried to steal his hat. We'll talk all about that coming up here at the back half of the program. All right, Pickle. By the way, we're not doing first 4 through the door because, surprise, we're on tape. All right, Pickle. UIL Realignment's Thursday.
Fact.
We've got our UIL Realignment special coming up 9 a.m., probably 8:55 a.m. to be real honest.
Yeah.
8:55 a.m. on Thursday. The alignments will be released at 9 a.m. We will have instant reaction and instant breakdown of every classification across the state. We're very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
We should be, I'll just say this, we should be live from Birdville, where there's going to be a bunch of coaches milling about, finding out the alignments.
Mm-hmm.
There is big weather
Yeah.
potentially in the forecast. You're our chief meteorologist. What are you seeing?
Yeah, it's supposed to be down in the teens, and it's about a 90% chance of snow because of there's like a huge rain cell that's also moving in with a cold front. So the chances of there being ice on the road is very likely.
Okay.
And especially at that hour, which would be in the morning. So
no matter what, we'll have our realignment special. It may be push comes to shove, it'll be here in the studio.
Yeah, we might have to trek through,
Yes.
miles of snow.
Correct. But that's an easier drive than it would be to
Oh, no,
Birdville.
we're walking.
So anyway, we will have the realignment special no matter what, by hook or crook, come hell or high water on Thursday.
But knowing Texas, it'll be 80 degrees on Thursday, and this won't hit until like Sunday.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
who
right.
knows?
In any case, you're probably thinking, UIL Realignment, what's that? We get a lot of questions every single year about how, and it's probably good to do a primer, like a refresh, even if you are a Texas high school football nerd, as to how Texas high school football is laid out and aligned. Here is how it works, our presentation on how Texas high school football works, 2022 UIL Realignment.
Everyone knows that Texas high school football is king. But as big as the state championships may be, perhaps the biggest day of the Texas high school football calendar comes every other February. Let us explain. Dave Campbell's Texas Football presents How Texas High School Football Works, UIL Realignment. Let's start with the basics. The UIL is the University Interscholastic League, the governing body for extracurricular activities in Texas public schools, including Texas high school football. And they have a big job. There are 1,253 Texas high school football teams in the UIL, and they come in all shapes and sizes. The largest school in Texas is Allen, with 7,102 students. The smallest school in Texas with a football team is Del City, with 14 students. In other words, the largest school is 507 times bigger than the smallest school. These schools are also spread out. The distance between the westernmost school, Anthony, and the easternmost school, Burkeville, is 764 miles. That's farther than the distance between New York City and Atlanta, Georgia. So how do you make Texas high school football work with all these variables? We told you the UIL has a big job. Every 2 years, the UIL redraws the districts in which Texas high school football teams play. We call this realignment. It starts in October on Snapshot Day. That's the day that every school turns in their enrollment number, how many students attend their school, to the UIL. The UIL gathers this data, and then it's time to divide the schools for the first time into 6 roughly even classifications. For example, if your school has fewer than 105 students, your school is placed in Class 1A. If your school has more than 105 students, but fewer than 249 students, your school is placed in Class 2A. This goes on and on all the way up to Class 6A, which is comprised of schools with more than 2,225 students. So now we have the schools separated into 6 relatively even classifications, but there's another important step before we really get going. In Class 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A, the UIL splits those classifications in half into 2 divisions. They're called Division 1 for the bigger schools and Division 2 for the smaller schools. So let's take Class 3A as an example. Class 3A is comprised of schools with an enrollment between 544 students and 250 students. There are 204 of these schools. The midpoint here is 360. There are 102 schools with an enrollment between 544 and 360. Those 102 schools will be 3A Division 1. There are 102 schools with an enrollment between 359 and 250. Those 102 schools will be 3A Division II. Okay, so we've now divided the schools into classifications and divisions. Here comes the fun part. It's time to divide these teams up into districts based on where you are in the state. Think of it like this. The goal is to play teams of comparable size that are closest to you. There are 32 districts in each classification. Districts 1 through 32 in Class 6A, and districts 1 through 16 in each division of Class 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A. Those districts also fall into 4 regions. Region 1 is the first quarter of the districts, Region 2 is the second quarter of the districts, and so on. Generally speaking, the districts start out west and snake their way through Texas clockwise. District 1 is usually as far west as possible, like El Paso, then through West Texas and the Panhandle into North Texas, into Central Texas and out to East Texas, down to Southeast Texas near Houston, then over to South Texas and finishing in the Rio Grande Valley. It's not always like this, but this is a pretty good rule of thumb. As we said, this is a tough job. Texas has clusters of schools in big cities and other schools that are way out by themselves, and they all need to fit together. For example, what do you do with a team like Stephenville? The 2021 4A Division I state champions have been in a district with Waco and Dallas-Fort Worth schools for the last 2 years, but they could very easily go west to the big country this time around. And there's a million other factors to sort through, like large school districts who want to keep all their teams together and schools that ask to play in a larger classification to reduce their travel. In the end, the UIL tries to make evenly divided districts of comparable sized teams in close proximity to one another for more than 1,200 teams across the state of Texas. Did we mention that this is a tough job? When the alignments are released, we will know what Texas high school football will look like for the next 2 years. And this is huge because it tells us what the Texas high school football playoffs will look like. To win a state championship, you first have to qualify for the playoffs by beating the teams in your own district. Then, you have to battle the teams in your regions, the districts nearest to yours. And UIL Realignment is the roadmap for all 1,253 UIL Texas high school football teams. They will then know the path they must walk to win a state championship. Now you know why every 2 years, UIL Realignment is arguably the biggest day on the Texas high school football calendar. Get ready.
There you go. UIL Realignment, how it works, now you know. It's how everything gets divided, everything gets gathered up, and how Texas high school football is all put together. Thanks to our friends at Hometown Ticketing for sponsoring our realignment coverage. We will have wall-to-wall coverage coming Thursday morning, starting at 8:55 a.m. live. Hopefully from Birdville, but if not, then live from here. We'll be waking up early to do that show. Mm-hmm. We're going to do back-to-back early shows.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, and we're recording early today, so it's a strange week around these parts.
We're at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Pickle, this past Friday, you and I went out to Grapevine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long trip for us.
Man, yeah, I thought we were never going to get there.
To the DFW Clinic, of course, a first-class event. Always appreciate them letting us crash their party and pulled aside a couple of coaches, chatted them up. One of them is our buddy DJ Mann, the head coach of the Lubbock Coronado Mustangs, coming off of a 7-5 year, a district championship, but he was not satisfied. He should be satisfied with his hat, though. A lot to get to in this. Here's my conversation with Lubbock Coronado head coach DJ Mann here on Texas Football Today.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football here at the DFW Clinic. I get all these clinics confused. DFW Clinic, an outstanding clinic here in Grapevine, Texas, here with the head coach of the Lubbock Coronado Mustangs. It's Coach DJ Mann in his outstanding hat. Let's talk about, can I just have this hat?
Nah, man, this hat is one of one.
It's one of one?
This hat is one of one, man. I'm the only person with this hat.
How do we make this? How do we make it one of two? Because I'm very interested in this hat.
Man, I may give it to you and see if I can get another one made. Because you my guy. You're my guy. So I take care of my family, man, you know?
That's why I hang out with DJ Mann. All right, let's talk a little bit about your first year as the head coach of the Lubbock Coronado Mustangs. Go to the playoffs. Seemed like you guys got better as the season went on. But that's me sitting from behind a desk on TV. You're on the sideline. How would you assess your first year there at Coronado?
And you know, we didn't get where we wanted to get. You know, we wanted to be playing during Thanksgiving. You know, winning the district championship, that was big, and you know, having the opportunity for kids to sign to go to college next week is going to be an important thing. But you know, in my opinion, man, we got a long way to go.
That's interesting because I think there's a lot of people who would look around and say, "Hey, you know what, Coronado, 7-5, came within a whisker, knocking off a good Midlothian team in the second round of playoffs, get a playoff win, district championship. You know, you guys pull the upset by many people over Tascosa. Not you, I know, but you would look at that and say, not good enough. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's not our standard.
Okay.
You know, I don't believe that's our standard, and I'm very proud of those kids. I don't want to kind of like downplay it and say, hey man, you know, we didn't do what we were supposed to do, but you know, we have big plans. You know, the expectations are really high. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I put a lot of pressure on my coaches and our kids to kind of take it to the next level. So, you know, that's what we're working towards doing, and hope that we can get there.
All right, you've been in the job now for a year. What do you know about the job that maybe you didn't know when you took it?
Man, you know, hiring guys to Lubbock, Texas is a tough thing. It's a great place. It's just, you know, it's hard to get people to come out there, you know, if they've never seen it. And I learned you have to think big picture. You know, you got to go day by day, but, you know, everything you do, there's going to be something that affects it, you know, 3 weeks down the line, maybe a month down the line. So you have to really think big picture when you're planning things, even like practice or off season or, you know, your athletic period. What are you going to do with this kid? You know, you just have to think on a grand scale, man.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit about recruiting because I know that's a passion of yours.
Yes, sir.
You're always blowing up my Twitter feed about recruiting and things like that. Next week's National Signing Day.
Yeah.
What are your emotions on days like that, on National Signing Day? Because I know you put a lot of work into stuff. What are days like next Wednesday like for you?
Man, it's a very stressful day that morning. You know, making sure you get all the paperwork taken care of. But man, it's a day that's most important to me. Like I want to play in the state championship. You know, I want to win a state championship. But you know, signing day is like a national championship day to me because it's a big competition as far as getting kids signed and seeing how many you can have. But it's a relief because, you know, you get to see these kids smile, man. You get to see the weight come off their shoulders. You get to see the parents smile and cry. So, man, it's one of my favorite days. It's like Christmas to me. You know, you get to unwrap these gifts and see these kids sign these scholarships and go to the next level. But then, like, you know, we sign at 2 o'clock. At 2:45, I'm asking my recruiting coordinator, you know, how many can we do next year? You know, can we take it to another level, man? And it just doesn't stop. Like, it's a year-round thing.
All right. You've got a neighbor out there in the 806, a new neighbor there at the in the big chair there on the South Plains, and Joey McGuire taking over at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about how, you know, what a big thing that is to have a Texas high school football guy there at the head coach at Texas Tech. But that's from me as a media guy.
Yeah.
Speaking as a high school football head coach in the state of Texas, what does it mean to have guys like Jeff Traylor, guys like Joey McGuire coaching at the highest levels, at the FBS level?
Man, it's important, you know, because we can relate to those guys. Those guys can relate to us. And, you know, a lot of guys in this building right now have aspirations to be a college coach. So when you see Coach Traylor do it and you see Coach McGuire do it, you know, you say, hey, man, if we win enough games and we treat people right, you know, we earn that respect, we're going to have the opportunity eventually to sit in that seat, you know, if we do the right things.
All right, 2022, your Lubbock Coronado Mustangs. Obviously, we don't know who you're playing. We still got realignment to go, things like that. But when you take a look 8 months before you're going to play a game, what has you excited about the 2022 Mustangs?
When you bring back a quarterback that threw for 3,200 yards,
okay.
You know,
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah,
you're into that kind of thing.
When you bring back a kid that threw for 3,200, you're going to always have a chance. You know, when you can't coach experience, he's got 12 games under his belt. He's seen all the defenses that you can throw at him. So we're excited, man. And, you know, we're bringing a CU takeover back now. You know, I put that away a long time ago when I left Houston, but CU takeover is coming now.
I love it. And finally, one of your 7 wins this past year was over Amarillo Paladero. The last time we talked about the game against Amarillo Paladero because, of course, Eric Mims, the coach there, he's an alum of Paladero. He's got them pointed in the right direction, obviously doing great things. You guys get the win. How much mess have you talked to Eric Mims?
Man, I hadn't talked a lot. I actually owe him another L. I need to give him another L to even it up because he beat me twice at Duncanville.
Mm-hmm.
But since we're head coaches, my one win is bigger than the two that he's given us. But, man, it was fun. I was talking so much trash during the game, like so much trash. Like across the field, I'm yelling, I'm talking crazy, but it's all love. Like, he's my brother. I really wouldn't want to play him again, to be honest, because I don't want to give him an L. I don't want him to give me an L because, these jobs are hard to get, so we have to protect ourselves. We got to protect our brothers, protect our records, so, man, it's all love. But, I talk a little trash to him, and he don't want to see us again.
I would expect nothing less. DJ Mann, appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you kindly, man.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they...
There he is. Our buddy DJ Mann, head coach of the Lubbock Coronado Mustangs. Good talk with him, as always.
The whole staff had on great hats. They said that it's their little like local shop in Lubbock. I was like, if we go out there, we gotta hook up the shop.
I'm telling you, he's turning he's helping to turn the 806 into a big deal out there.
Yep.
So it's good, big doings. Appreciate Coach DJ Mann taking a little bit of time and chatting us up. Let's go to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts. There are no comments because this is on tape.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is going to be my final thoughts for today and tomorrow just because people need to recognize that we're not going to be on air at noon for Wednesday and Thursday. So a reminder, our National Signing Day show is coming up on Wednesday. That is at 10 o'clock in the morning.
By the way, I guess I should mention this.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw out the graphic because the graphic is wrong.
The graphics are wrong. Isaiah Broadway, the running back from Lancaster, reached out to us, and he said, hey, I didn't realize that my school signing day event was at the same time. So he's going to be doing it at school. Totally cool. Happy for him. So he's going to be doing that. But we will still have R.J. Maryland and Jack Curtis signing. We are looking into having a third. We have a couple lines in the water. We'll see. But we hopefully will get somebody else in here. But,
well, there's the thing.
Happy for Isaiah Broadway. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
He gets to do that at school.
If y'all know anyone, send us an email or something. About
who can come to Louisville.
Yeah, who can come to Louisville and would love to be a part of it because we'd love to have them.
Love to have them. So let us know. It's Ashley_Pickle12 on Twitter.
That's
her know. Anything else?
And then realignment at 8:55 in the morning on Thursday. So just be prepared for this to be a wacky week, friends.
It's going to be a wacky week of shows, but we will have you covered stem to stern. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Lubbock Coronado head coach DJ Mann for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow. Normal time. Thanks for football today.